tour of the Southland. He arrived early this afternoon. The president visited a local high school where he talked about a variety of campaign issues. Our political reporter, Dave Bryan, joining us now live from Monrovia with more. Dave.
Kerry, the president concluded his remarks here about 15 minutes ago. This is his first stop on a two-day swing through California, part of a three-day tour of the western United States. He arrived here in Monrovia about 2.5 hours ago. The president stressing issues like welfare, child support, and in the stop here in Monrovia, he talked to a crowd of more than 1,000 people in the school auditorium about truancy and how to crack down on juvenile crime.
We have proposed to help and support communities that wanted to do a number of things that we thought would improve children's lives. And Monrovia is a sterling example of 3 of our major initiatives: the community policing along with citizen participation, a tough truancy policy, and of course the school uniform policy. And I wanted to thank you for that.
And the president called for communities around the country to emulate those programs, many of which began here in Monrovia, particularly the truancy program, which Monrovia officials say has cut school truancy by more than 40% and cut the dropout rate here by more than 50%. Earlier today in Colorado, the subject was child support. The president said he's asked the Attorney General to draft a tougher law against deadbeat parents who don't send child support from out of state. Tonight, the president faces a whirlwind tour of fundraisers, including one in Beverly Hills and another in Century City. That's the latest from Monrovia. I'm Dave Bryan reporting live. Terry, back to you.
Okay, busy day, Dave.
Done. Christine, the president stopped here because he wants to use Monrovia as an example of what school districts and communities can do to keep kids in school and to cut crime. Earlier today, though, he promised to crack down on deadbeat parents.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
The president came to Monrovia because of its successful truancy and community policing programs. A truancy curfew has cut unexcused absences here 42%.
What I'm hoping is that by being here today, we'll get enough publicity out of this so that 200 or 300 other communities will call here in a week or two. They'll call the principal, the superintendent, the chief of police, the mayor, and they'll say, help me do this.
Before arriving in California, President Clinton stopped off in Denver. He promises to do everything possible to force parents to pay child support.
Now, that may seem cruel to you, but people take it as routine to walk in the post office and see somebody who robs a bank or a 7-Eleven. As bad as that is, if nobody's hurt, it's not as bad as robbing our children of their future. That's the biggest robbery of all.
And he will adopt a federal version of Los Angeles County's delinquent parent internet page. It would help parents find absent mothers or fathers. And he also ordered the Justice Department to make it a felony to withhold support payments for a child in another state.
It doesn't matter.
In Monrovia, President Clinton kept up his attempt to become the education president. There were no new proposals from a president who already has suggested spending billions on everything from school building repair to urging school districts to crack down on truancy and approve school uniforms.
We're all in this together. And I see you out here sitting together, applauding your local leaders, applauding what you have done together. And all I can say to you is, please, 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 number one, keep it up, find ways to increase it. And number two, find ways to talk to your friends and neighbors around the state and around the country about this, because what you are doing will determine whether we can go raring into the 21st century united and strong. Thank you, and God bless you.
Clinton's primary purpose for his 25th visit to California is fundraising for the Democratic National Committee. He's expected to raise $1.75 million at 3 fundraisers tonight, from Beverly Hills to Century City. In Monrovia, John North, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, thanks, John. Rodney King praised during his first stop. President Clinton congratulated the community of Monrovia during a speech at a local high school. He praised them for their efforts to combat crime and juvenile violence in their area.
You are the example of what every community can do if they will.
The community passed one of the country's toughest truancy laws in 1994, and later tonight, President Clinton will address a Democratic fundraiser for Asian Americans in Los Angeles.
A grand old party.
But our 54 electoral votes, of course,
not guaranteed. We have team coverage tonight. We'll begin with our Hal Eisner in Santa Monica, where the president will be spending the night. Hal?
$1.7 million. That's how much campaign aides believe the president pulled in today as he crisscrossed Southern California. He made stops in Monrovia, Beverly Hills, and Century City. He talked about the usual campaign issues, crime, affirmative action, the economy. But before a large crowd of Asian Americans in Century City tonight, he also talked about prejudice and how Americans need to work together and not against each other.
I believe the best days of this country are before us. If we find a way to fight back our security problems, if we find a way to give everybody a chance to participate in the new economy, if we find a way to build strong families and strong communities. But the number one thing we have to do is to make up our mind we are going into the future together.
Asian Americans make up 10% of our state's population, but according to our UPN News 13 California poll, only 4% are registered voters. Although Asian Americans as a group have not been deeply involved in the political process over the years, there are those who want to change that.
We want to show that we do have some power, that we are, part of this society.
What are the issues?
The issues are immigration and affirmative action, and also small business loans.
The president needs California to get reelected. And although he currently has a big lead here, Democratic political consultant Joe Sorrell says Mr. Clinton needs some insurance. That's why he's reaching out to groups like California's Asian Americans.
You're taking out insurance that in case there is some slippage, it's going to be all right because we've touched every base.
Tonight, the president reached out for money and votes. And at least here at the Century Plaza Hotel, there were both. You paid $1,000 tonight to come to this event.
That's right. Yes, I paid $1,000 to come.
Some people say it's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, but I think it shows how much we really believe in the process, that we are willing to put money where our mouth is.
It's been a busy day for Mr. Clinton, cramming in one event after another. It all started earlier today in Monrovia, and our Larry Atterbury was there.
This is Clinton's 25th trip to California since taking office. The latest Times poll gives him a 27% lead over Dole, but he is taking no chances. At Monrovia High School, east of Pasadena, the president applauded the city's record. Monrovia was named as an All-America city last year. Truancy is down 42% because of a tough new law where parents can be fined if their kids aren't in school. Crime is also down 35%. Mr. Clinton called it a sterling example of 3 of his initiatives.
The community policing, along with citizen participation, a tough truancy policy, and, of course, the school uniform policy.
The president was careful not to take credit for Monrovia's success, but he was clear these programs are part of his re-election agenda. The audience loved it.
We've lived in Monrovia, my husband and I, all our lives, and we have seen it just change from a terrible place to live to be the most wonderful place to live.
And what exactly does the president have to do with enforcing truancy laws? The answer, of course, is nothing. But it's also clear there was a very receptive chord here, many people understanding what the president was saying and agreeing with him. In Monrovia, Larry Atterbury, UPN News 13.
Tonight, the president spends the night here at the Miramar Sheraton in Santa Monica. There's a lot of security at this hour. Roads around the hotel are cordoned off. And then he'll do it all over again tomorrow. He takes off from Southern California in the morning for Sacramento and then San Francisco as he continues to mine for campaign gold here in the Golden State.
Playing 2 roles, one as a presidential candidate hungry for political money. And reportedly, he raised nearly $2 million tonight at 3 fundraising events, one here in Century City, 2 others in Beverly Hills. But at his only public event, Clinton used the bully pulpit to play the role of presidential cheerleader for school programs he favors. On his 25th trip to California since being elected, Clinton kept to his usual tight script. A quick visit with a hand-picked appreciative crowd, no questions from the media, and lots of praise for his host, the all-American city of Monrovia.
If every community in America tomorrow would decide to organize themselves the way you have and to do what you have done, the differences would be breathtaking within a matter of 2 years.
Earning the president's recognition, 2 programs in Monrovia, one requiring school uniforms and another that's cut the truancy rate in local schools by half. The truancy program requires kids to do community work in parks like this one,
or pay a fine.
And all we're doing is giving them a little bit of incentive, a little kick in the butt to do exactly what you're supposed to do.
Except for a small group of protesters in Beverly Hills this afternoon, the president's visit was all big bucks and smooth sailing. Tomorrow, he's off to Sacramento and San Francisco, where he'll wrap up his latest visit to California. Reporting live from Century City, I'm John Schwada, Fox 11.